Well, guys, welcome to episode 64 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight's show, we've got Tommy Dupree is going to tell us about his drag and drive experience from a racer and vendor perspective. It's going to be kind of a interesting conversation. He works with Summit and is a big part of our life right over here, man. We talk all the time. So, Eric, if you'll hit that intro video, dude, let's get this thing going.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
Welcome again to episode 64 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show. My name is Mike Narx. I am the host of the Drag Drive Repeat Show, which you're watching now, and the Drag Drive Repeat News, which happens live on Saturday mornings. And my co-host is back, Mr. Eric White. Introduce yourself, tell them what you got going on, and let's get into this thing, man.
All right, I am Eric White. I am the co-host for both the show and the news. Help out with everything drag, drive, repeat. And when I'm not doing that, I am over working on my channel, which is 815 LSX Swaps.
All right, well, guys, you know how this thing works. We can't do this without you guys. As I'll leave it off there, thank you so much for being our race car friends, y'all. I mean, truly, as we work through all this stuff and late nights and all that, you guys make it worthwhile. I'm telling you, being part of the race car friends group is a big deal to us. We appreciate everybody that has been out there. And also for our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performer Built Transmissions, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk, and our newest media partner, Power 2. Let's get into it, guys. I don't know if you know this or not, but Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 catalog editions. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. You hear that, Eric? 1,500 brands. That's a lot of stuff. They got
That's a
for
lot.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, make sure you download the Summit Racing mobile app right here on your phone for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And Tommy's actually in the studio where Justin does a lot of the work in there, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
We'll get
super
to hear a
cool.
little bit of that tonight. And then you can also find them on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions with manufacturers, people like us, and racers from around the world. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Well, I want to talk about Summit for just another minute because their social media stuff is awesome. I don't know if you guys know this, but it seems like they post like 3, 4, 5 times a day. So of course I'm over there all the time looking and commenting and liking stuff. But their most recent post was actually just a couple hours ago. It asked, "Do you have a name for your current or previous cars?" So I want to hear what people that are watching this have to say. Do you name your cars? I name my cars. I name every car that I turn a wrench on, especially for the shop for Narcoleptic has always had names. And then, but Eric doesn't name his cars.
No, I've got both of mine, and we were talking about this before the show, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the best thing that I came up with was Johnny Cash because both the cars are black.
I like it. I like it. Johnny Cash. They need to be Johnny Cash songs, maybe. That may be the way you get through it. Yep, Carl
Yeah.
Steamy, Hot Carl. Love the 307 car there. And then so mine, of course, my old truck. If you guys have listened for a while, my old truck is called Stanley, named after my grandfather. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Turbo LS, easy truck. It was built for burnouts and ice cream based on the sloppy mechanics, don't BS me clone, basically set up in it 4.8. It's a lot of fun. It is coming back after I fix this car. This car is number one on the priority list. This is the Narx cart. You guys see the picture there in the side. You can search hashtag Narx cart, and pictures from across the country in that thing. Anyways, the Narx car's coming, and then Steven Mellow Brother has Project Adamant. Again, everything we get has a name, and I I don't know why I do that, but I think I'm sure early on at a car show somewhere, some old man named his car, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people name their cars, so it's
Yeah.
not surprising.
Yep. So of course that post on Summit had like 150 comments. So I ran through and looked, and this is Lola Jean. This was named by Tanya Brunell, and she calls it Lola Jean, which was named after the previous owner's mom. And when she bought it, she said she liked it, so the name stayed. So she
That's
didn't name it, but the previous owner did. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a great shot too.
Yeah, yeah, great looking car. And then Nathan King posted here. This truck's name is Homer. Kind of an interesting story. He said it's a '67 F100. He bought it before my dad originally bought it to flip. He pawned it to his nephew, got it back. It got stolen. He got it back. He sold it to Nathan's brother. Nathan's sister totaled it. That's when Nathan got it. And dad says he always finds a way home, hence the name Homer.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was pretty cool. So again, guys, you got to follow Summit on whatever your favorite social media app is. They always have fun stuff like this, and then obviously all the builds and things like that that come along with that. The Howard's Cams community segment. This has become probably one of my favorite segments that we do total, because we always have a guest on with this. This is kind of generally our, I would say, our long form guest, but I've also began putting in updates from across the community within this to kind of lead us off. So that's our plan. We're going to go over a few things, then we're going to bring in Tommy Dupree of Summit Racing. All right. First up, oh, hang on. What
Want
am I
me to hit
talking
that
about?
video?
Yeah, dude, that Harris from Monoxide voiced it for us.
Yeah, let's get into that quick.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend Luke B for your next valve train upgrade.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah, Luke B, he's a man. He was on a couple weeks ago. And speaking of podcasts,
Yeah.
the That's Cool Drink Adam Dory podcast had our boy Chris Story on last night, I think, live streaming. Man, they did amazing. Great
Yeah.
dudes, great conversations, tons of cool stuff. They kind of revisited why Chris quit his day job to do photography full time and kind of the struggles around that, because, Adam Dory became unemployed, quote unquote, a few weeks ago, a few months ago now. And so it was a lot of back and forth about, it's really cool to think that Chris is kind of like a hero. You know what I mean? Like he's a leader in the space of, being able to kind of guide all of us through how you make ends meet, man. Great setup. If you guys haven't listened to it, you need to jump over onto Adam Dory's Facebook or YouTube channel and watch it. And then Calvin Nelson, the American Supra right here, started it for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
That's going to be cool to see.
oh man, I'm so ready for this car. But this here's a really neat car. Obviously, fifth gen Camaro with the 4200 Atlas powertrain or engine. This is going to be really fun to watch this thing come together. It's 25.3 cage. So, this could be one of the fastest cars they've built.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
hope they can make it to 6 Summer. I'd like to check this out.
another race car friend, maybe Danny Grubai, our buddy, and then Alex and Brad Brody removed the axle in Tom Bagley's knapsack Mustang, and they're doing a gear set change because when Tom comes over, from the UK to be here for Rocky Mountain Race Week, this car is still in LA. This car's in Southern California, so he's got to get it from Southern California to Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Whew.
and he's got to fly in and all the extra stuff that goes along with that. So he
Yeah.
had planned out a couple days to try and get this gear set change done. while he, as soon as he got here to get that. But this will be great because now he'll have time to, I would say, probably ease around, maybe make that trip a little easier on him. And so I didn't catch the gear set that they're going with, but I would imagine this car probably had a pretty high gear set in it, or it had a really, I think it may have had a really low gear set, and they're putting a better one in. I don't know. We'll have to find out. We'll have updates on Saturday's Drag Driver Pete news for that one. Corey Nicholson of Car Change 3D has made a huge step forward. Red Tide Canopies printed, and is planning to attend LS Fest West, which is kind of cool because he's in Detroit. So, it's a big trip. And then I want to wish him good luck. I'm sure you do as well,
Yeah.
because this is going to be one of his first events to set up like a full tent and booth and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for him to be able to begin like displaying at shows and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he's got somebody going with to help because, as you and I know, it takes a lot to get that set up and to run it.
Oh yeah, no thanks. It's too hard by yourself. That's why typically when I'm on an event by myself, I don't have the booth and everything set up because it's too hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me back up one picture here. Let's bring in our guest for this evening, Mr. Tommy Dupree of Summit Racing, and I'll bring him on here. Let's drop the bottom here, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Man, I'm doing
Good.
great. I'm glad for you to be back on. You've been on before. You and Jim Greenleaf came on probably a year and a half ago or something like that. And we kind
Yeah.
of talked business and stuff like that and y'all's experience. And we're going to dive into some of that. We're going to talk about trunk monkeys, and we're going to talk about riding three deep in a Firebird for a week
Right.
of drag week. And so it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about some of the Summit Racing stuff as well. But I think we got to do something first. So I'm going to bring this picture back up that I just showed, and I'm going to let you sing "Happy Birthday" to your.
So I'm not going to sing it because everybody would tune out. But my lovely wife is here in the studio with me. But happy birthday, baby! Love you, and thanks for putting up with me and everything that all us idiots do in this drag and drive. So
Tell us who you are, what you do, and then obviously we'll talk about where you're at too.
yeah, I'm Tommy. I work with Summit Racing almost 15 years now. Um, what my department does, we're the motorsports and events team. So anytime basically you see whoops, this brand, that brand, so wherever behind me, out in the motorsports field, whether it be in a sporting event, any type of racing, teams, track signage, anything away from one of our four campuses, we basically have had a hand in that. So, like for instance, Drag Week, Sick Summer, any of the other affiliated events that we do, NHRA, IHRA, WDRA, oh my gosh, Bigfoot monster
The
trucks,
circuit.
modified the circuit, very good catch. Any of that stuff comes across our desk, and we kind of facilitate those partnerships, put them together, decide how we're going to activate within those partnerships, and that's what I do. We basically do. I think this year we have 51 different events slated on our schedule. I'm not personally doing 51 events. I'm probably going to be between the 18 and 20 mark. That's why it's great to have a very understanding wife. But we have a good team put together to facilitate those events too. But there's only three or four of us in the motorsports department, so we're spread kind of thin. But we're a well-oiled machine, and we have great partners like you guys that make us look good.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but thank you for saying that. And dude, we're excited for you to be a part of this. I mean, it's you're a big part of our program. We appreciate part of the show, the news, and the circuit event. So it's pretty awesome to have you guys. And what I think is great on our side is you're a wealth of knowledge. So that allows me to kind of, I don't know. Tommy probably gets tired of me asking stuff, but he's
Oh,
always
no.
really helpful and at least nice to reply with answers.
See,
So
So
I would rather you do that than maybe some other experiences we've had that we found out later and go. So it's always good to touch base. Yes.
yeah, yep, that's
so
awesome.
so tell us where you're at right now.
I am actually in the studio, one of our studios here in our Ohio campus. if you watch any of our YouTube stuff, Justin Wiedemann, I call him unofficially my son because we're both gingers. Anyway, long story. But this is where they do a lot of the builds here. A lot of anything you've seen them do build wise for Summit, it's pretty much been in this studio. I will say that I need to talk to my son about his housekeeping because if I turn this camera around, um, I'm OCD and I'm struggling right now. Let's put it that way. Uh,
Well,
but no, a
it
lot of
looks
stuff
good
gets
behind
shot here, whether it's product video or builds or anything like that. But anytime you basically see Justin and the crew doing a video shoot for Summit, it's done here.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
And if, I don't know if you can hear in the background, but the warehouse is all around me basically, and these guys pretty much don't stop till what, midnight? Yeah. So there's reach trucks, lift trucks, forklifts zooming around, beep beeping like busy bees out there right now, fulfilling all the orders that you guys are placing. So
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that's right. SummitRacing.com. Put it in. I'm sure one of those forklifts is some drag and drive racer that just ordered something that they needed for sick summer.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Eric, I'm going to let you ask him the next question there because this is a big deal and I'm excited.
Yeah, so let's kind of talk about the big news that you and the team at Summit put together for racers at Big Sky Race Week and Six Summer.
Yeah. Being part of the community and being out and meeting these guys at different races, we want to do all of them, but with 51 events already in place, we can't be everywhere. And sometimes we have to make tough decisions on what works logistically best for our trucks from point A to point B, and then point C and point D after that. So, um, our 42-foot parts coach, we call Tex, will not be at Big Sky, and unfortunately, it won't be at Six Summer this year, which breaks my heart. We've become very fond of that event, but myself and Jim Greenleaf, my boss, are, as you know, dragon drivers as well, and we thought it was important to still try to help these guys out. So what we did is we put together a special hotline number for these racers. We also have a team of motorsport sales agents that's just within our department. So it's not anybody you're going to get on your normal 1-800 call. These guys kind of take care of special teams, other builder stuff within our organization. And you're going to have a direct line to them basically. And I put together a spreadsheet of the ship to. So if you call this date, all they got to do is look over at the track that is for this event or that date, and it ships it to the next track overnight. These numbers are only going to be live from the Monday through Friday of these events, or however your event works out. It's actual ship to days. Obviously, if an event rolls over on Saturday, I don't have any way to get you parts on Sunday, but we can on Friday schedule a Saturday delivery. Something rolls over to the weekend. So, um, it's a dedicated line just for this. With Big Sky and Sick Week in your registration packet, I'm even going to try to save you some money. I've got a special 10% off coupon in that registration packet they're going to be handing out. Feel free to use that coupon when you do call in, but that phone number will be listed there. Um, and we talked about the gentleman's agreement. This is for you guys during that event. They're probably even going to ask you what your car number is during the event because we don't want everybody to have access to this phone number. It's specifically
Right.
for you guys that are in competition. So we ask that you don't share the number. If that happens, we have a backup thing with confirming you are actual racer within competition, and those guys are going to take care of you. So it's something we felt was important. We want to be there as much as we can for you guys, but we just can't be everywhere at once. I don't have enough trucks in the fleet. And so it's just something we wanted to put together to say, hey, we haven't forgot about you. We're still heavily involved in the drag and drive community, and hopefully we'll see another one down the road later this year.
That's
That's
really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for this because I know I mean, obviously that takes a ton of extra preparation and getting everybody bought in, making these spreadsheets, getting all that stuff done. And to be able to do that, I want to say, I know we appreciate it from our side. And then also I'm sure the drag and drive racers do, but you said something that was really important there. You said you don't have enough trucks in the fleet. You know how they get more trucks? You order your stuff from Summit Racing. That's how you do it. If you had more people order from Summit Racing, there would probably be more trucks in the fleet at some point in the future. So we'll see. That's the first step. There is order parts from summitracing.com, and then they'll allocate that money eventually towards another truck.
So maybe we need like a drag drive repeat / summit like cargo van that we just travel to events and do media and sell some summit parts out of.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in. I'm in.
Don't don't ask for stuff you don't want to do.
That's right. Yeah, because I don't want to. I don't want to do it out of a van. I think I want to do it out of a motorhome, like what you guys have. I think that would be way more fun. Well, man, let's talk about working an event, because that really is a lot of what you do. You attend several events a year, but you really probably work the truck more, I would say, to get out and about. Obviously, going to 18 or 20 in the year. I know there's been some big saves, like you've saved some people. I know there was an event. I can't remember if it was. I think it was Sick Week this year, where somebody's trailer was stolen, and then like
Yes.
yeah, you guys had like you were getting them tires, all this kind of stuff, and ended up. I mean, it was a great ending. They got the trailer back and all that kind of stuff. But that's just one story that I can think of off the top of my head about a time that you guys have saved someone's butt.
Yeah, it his I can't remember if it was his wife or girlfriend, fiance, whatever, but she approached us the day after it happened. The trailer got stolen, and his wheels and tires, track side for the track purposes, did get stolen. The whole trailer got stolen. Wheels and tires were with
Mhm.
it, and he was pretty upset. I mean, he she went into great detail as to how upset he was because they put a lot of time and money and effort, vacation days, and something he always wanted to do, and it was a big deal to him. So she came to us and asked, "Is there any way that you guys can help me get wheels and tires for him?" And we said, "Absolutely." So it wasn't easy. I think wheels were maybe in one location, tires were in another location, but we got our team together and made it happen where everything showed up. The guys from Mickey Thompson, another great partner for not only us but Drag and Drive, were there. Um, I think we did talk her into ordering Mickey Thompson's. I don't think that's what he was running at the time, but ended up with a set of Mickey's. The guys over there mounted and balanced for him, and he was ready to go for the next day. He missed one day of he competed, but he had his hard tires on, and it wasn't. They let him get a 20 at the end of the day, basically, if I remember
Yeah.
right, because you can't make a pass with hard tires. But the next day he was back in competition with the wheels and tires, and we that's a big thing for us, and that's kind of how this thing snowballed together. Back when Jim Greenleaf and I and Chris Maurer, all three of us are Summit employees. We decided to do Drag Week. We actually got an entry into 20, and then COVID hit, and so we didn't get to do it that year. But 21, we rolled in for our first event, and we struggled. Yeah, three of us. The tall bald guy. Now, bear in mind that man is like 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
And Chris in the back seat is probably, and I think he's watching. He'll chime in. He's probably 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there. And that poor guy rode sideways for 1,300 miles. But we had our own trials and tribulations and struggles, and we kind of saw that there's a need for us to be out here, especially with this new. Yeah, that was a happy day right there.
Yeah.
We just finished it. Um, we saw there was an opportunity for us to help people out. We needed to make sense financially. We had to put a plan together to come out and decide what we wanted to have on the truck, what would lead to success, not only for the racer, for us helping them out, but for us to be able to at least pay for the trip. I mean, and
Mhm.
that's we all have budgets we have to answer. We have to responsibility to the powers that be, but this is more than made sense for us to do. The first event we did, probably we struggled a little bit with inventory, but then we started branching out into other forms of drag racing, and we kind of developed that that inventory. And now I would say it's Sick Week this year. We about had an 85% success rate off the truck. We shipped very
That's
little.
great. That is
Yeah,
great.
that's
Um,
really good.
that's a great thing for us. It's one thing. Yes, we're out there supporting the company, making money, doing what we're supposed to do. That's my job. Talking about the brand. But when a guy comes up and he's like, "Man, do you have an intake rocker for an LS3?" I just broke it. Come back out with that piece, and just to see their face and know that
Yeah.
they're going to be able to keep going is worth every penny.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And you guys are busy all day, every day. Like it's pretty intense watching the truck go up in the mornings. Yeah, I was lucky enough to kind of help and ride with you during sick week this year. And man, it's not easy putting that thing up and down every day. And then you guys just like you're busy all day, every day. It's pretty amazing.
It is nonstop for the most part, which is fantastic.
Yep.
I feel bad sometimes for like the events that I might race at and not working. I get to see some cars go down the track, but I've got a great group of guys that have done this, all these events for us on the drag and drive side, and that's Alec and Kevin and another guy in my department, John. Those three have done all the drag and drive events that we have been to, and
Wow.
they do a fantastic job. It is they eat, sleep, breathe it. They get it. They're very good at what they do. They're very helpful. And sometimes, God bless the customer, but he doesn't know exactly what he needs, but they do a great job of figuring it out and getting the right piece and helping him make good decisions. So yeah, and part of what we do in my department, actually being at the event and working the event is the last detail of it. There's so
Mhm.
much planning and forethought going into it, logistics, making sure the truck is there, the inventory's there. If we have a special event, sale, discount, something for whatever event we're at, whether it be the drag and drive or a good guys or an NHRA or any big money bracket race, anything like that, there's a lot of planning and logistics involved to make sure that that happens, from making sure we have staffing covered and the travel plans, hotels, flights, rental cars, all that stuff
Mhm.
comes into play. And that's just from the event side of it. As far as the marketing partner side of it, we do have great partners like Good Guys and you guys and NHRA and great partners that go the extra mile to help us promote. But there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we have to get prepared for them, materials they need for every event that they execute to help tell our story. And that's kind of what you don't ever see in the background of what I do. Everybody sees us at the event and we're taking care of business, we're promoting the company and doing whatever, but there was 1,000 steps before that
Yeah.
to get to that point. And I enjoy that, honestly, being out with the people and our customers, and being at a race or a show is absolutely my favorite part of the job, always will be. But I enjoy putting plans together and programs together with different marketing partners.
That's awesome. And you guys are everywhere. It's really, with my work with the Tulsa Raceway Park, I mean, obviously you guys are a big part of that program and the Speedway and the Midwest Drag Race Series. Like it's pretty awesome to see that there's a team of like 5 people that put all of that together, for everyone that's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I know Kevin is planning a drag and drive event maybe this year, maybe next year, something like that. I can't remember. Does Alec have a project car?
He's a horse of a different color. Yes. Alec has a lot of project cars.
Oh, he has the
Um,
Miata, right? He has a
The
he has a
autocross.
turbo Miata he just finished. He has I think it's a 2010 something Fiesta track car, as in road race,
Yeah,
autocross. And then there's a few series around the country, but here in Northeast Ohio, there's the Spec Panther organization, which is basically cop car. It's
yeah,
the Grand Marquis,
yeah, yeah,
the big Fords, police
yeah.
cars.
Crown Vic, all that stuff. Yeah.
Crown Vic, that's the word I was trying to
Yep.
think of. And he's involved with that. He actually teaches part time with a racing organization up here that does some of the training days, track days, and things of that nature. But Yeah, he's got a lot of projects. Kevin has a it's not a Vega, it's actually a Pontiac.
Mm.
Their version is
Astri, yeah.
Astri, yes. Yep. Small block Chevy in it. And I don't think he's going to take that to the Dragon Drive, but he has purchased a new Vega,
Mm.
or new to him. Pretty cool little car, and the plan is to go LS swap in it, and I think that's going to be his Dragon Drive contingent. Um, I don't know that Alec will ever build a drag strip purpose vehicle. It's really not his wheelhouse, but he enjoys going. He helps me out quite a bit
Yeah.
with things. Lord, more here lately than in a long time. Some of the projects on the new build, but they're guys that love being at a drag and drive. They love
Yep.
being at any form of racing event. They don't care what it is. They're eat up with it, and
That's
and
awesome.
both of them longtime employees with the company, so they know how important it is for what they're doing out with these races.
Yeah. And then your buddy Jim Greenleaf, he
Yep.
finished his new car and it was supposed to be drag week last year, but didn't quite get it there. Are we going to see that car out soon, maybe?
You won't see it at Drag Week, no, or a Drag and Drive. No, he probably a much wiser decision than most. He built this car as kind of a resto mod.
Mm.
Um, he was excited because Drag Week last year was going to be kind of in some of his family stomping grounds,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
he
That's
more
right. I
or less
remember him
wanted to
saying that.
do it because he could see a lot of family that come out and visit
Yep.
and stuff. So the car never was intended to do that, and I don't think you'll see it at a Drag and Drive. But he's got other projects that
Yeah.
we could possibly make that happen too. He's still heavily involved with what I do.
Mm.
Between him and Chris, they've been my main co-pilots. Kevin took an event off from Drag Week last year and actually rode with me and Chris. And they you can't talk enough about a good co-pilot. You
Yeah.
know, the
Dude, that's
first
why
thing
we
they got
did
to
that's why
do.
we did the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like there
I
needs to be
I
more
I
stories
know, and I'm
about them.
sitting when I was watching that, I'm thinking about my God, there's three that I probably need to nominate because and I've had two at a time at a lot of this, but those guys are fantastic. First of all, they've got to have a little bit of patience. They've got to be a good navigator because we know that the directions we get and even the Google Map thing we get, it's not the best. I mean, we,
Yep.
we do the best we can with it, and they do the best they can, but it's not exactly right every time. So they're in a stressful situation. They're trying to make sure that they're going to tell you where to go, and you're not missing a turn. You've got to go 20 miles around a bypass and come back. And Greenleaf and I joke about this all the time. We'll be driving to an event and we won't speak for an hour. And it's not that it's just the way it is. The music's on, something's
Yep.
good, the scenery's pretty. We don't, we don't speak, and that becomes a lot in a drag and drive event, especially with three guys in the car. You think there'd be a lot of conversation, but unless something pops up cool or whatever, or we're about to play a prank on somebody in the back seat or somebody that fell asleep or something like that along the way. But yeah, a good co-pilot, and those three guys are top notch. And
Yep.
later this year, I'm going to try to get Alec out to one where he can co-pilot at some point in time. He and I talked about that a little bit, so
That's awesome.
um, we'll see.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, Alec obviously is one of my favorite folks. Like he's hilarious and fun to be around, and even when he's working hard, he's a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. He is. You can't help but smile when he's at the counter. Just
Yeah.
or being around him in general.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, let's talk about some of your history. I want to bring up the pictures again and kind of we'll run through these as you're telling stories. But let's talk about like when you got started. Like what was your first drag week?
21 was the first one. That picture there, actually. We learned a lot. We sucked a lot, but we finished. It was probably one of the most memorable things I've ever done. People that ask, "Well, what's it like doing that?" Um, Kevin, who would ever fall asleep? Yeah. Um, It
especially in
is
that car.
the
Like, I can imagine that the exhaust is at the perfect tone in that back seat. You're just like, out. I would think that would be
well,
a good spot to sleep.
yes, but you've heard Freiberger talk about all his years being around a racetrack and getting the tinnitus, whatever, in the ears. I no doubt have that now because of that car. It is. I am going to invest in earbuds. Greenleaf and I tried to do it at Midwest last year, and I'm a guy that likes to listen to the car. It kind of freaks me out, but my ears squeal all the time now.
Mm.
Um, but that was our first time doing it. I bought the car south of St. Louis with the intent of doing this, and it was probably too nice a car to do what I did to it. And that's the whole reason I don't have the car now. But we had a lot of fun in that car. We caught it on fire. We broke
Yeah.
multiple rocker arms. In 22, we lost a T top at about 800 feet.
Oh,
And
jeez.
Yeah.
if you ever want to clean the carpet or the dirt out of your carpet, be going about 120 and have the T top come out because every speck of dust sucks up under your helmet all at once. So yeah, we've had our trials and tribulations, but that was probably one of the best experiences of my life racing, especially with those three guys. We had a ball. We laughed, we cried, we cussed. We learned a lot, and that kind of helped us develop our program. And then in 22, Jim had a family issue; he couldn't attend, so Chris and I did it by ourselves. and we we had a lot of drama. We hit a bridge approach on the first day drive, and really hard, and pinched a brake line on the right, no, excuse me, on the driver's rear, and didn't know it. The car kind of stuttered for a minute, and then everything came back, and we kept going, and so everything feels good until we got to the second checkpoint. Went to get off the highway, stepped on the brakes, and there wasn't much brake there. So we limped it into the little dirt track that was the stop that night, pitch black, jacked the car up, looked under it, and saw that we had the pinch brake line. And I said, we can't fix this here. I don't have the stuff to do it. So we cranked the horsing valve all the way to the front to try and slow it down and limped it the next 40 miles to the hotel. We were 2 miles from the hotel. And all this time, brake fluid's just dripping. So we go across a railroad track, and the car kind of articulated a little bit, and something got into a charge wire or something for the alternator or to the battery. And I'm sitting there, we're at a red light, and I turn to Chris and I go, "Is it smoky in here?" And he goes, "Dude, I don't know. It's dark." And about that time, well, anybody that's got an F body knows you all have the trap door. That's where you put the fuel pump, take it in and out, swap it. Well, about that time in the rear view mirror, I saw flames in the car.
Oh,
So we hurried up, turned the corner, went down the side road, jumped out, fire extinguisher slid into the car and put it out. But it burnt the body harness from underneath the driver's seat all the way to the tail lights.
oh man.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh,
I didn't know what we were going to do. So we pieced a harness together enough. Yeah, Chris, fire, funny.
yeah.
Um, we pieced a harness together enough to get us to the hotel that night, and twist some wires together so we at least had tail lights for the trailer. We made it to the hotel, slept for a few hours. This was going into Indy, and we limped it over to an O'Reilly's the next morning. Bought brake lines, wires, fittings. They didn't have the right brake line, the steel line for the car. It was metric on one end, standard on the other, and they did not have a flaring tool. I didn't bring my flaring tool. So Chris hiked 3 miles round trip to another part store to get the double flaring tool, come back. To make a very long story a little bit shorter, we got it put back together. We got in the lanes about 2 hours before they closed, made our pass, buckled everything up, and headed to Byron. And then Byron the next day, um, first pass, snapped the passenger side axle. And it's a Moser rear end, not knocking them, nothing whatsoever. I've always used Moser stuff, but this was a specially built axle, centered pinion, and it's just not something you're going to find off the shelf. So we were done for 22.
Yep. I
That's a big,
remember
heavy
that.
car with lots of road
Yep.
miles and a spool. So definitely not Moser's fault, my fault for abusing it, but just couldn't get a spare, so we were out for 22. And
Yep.
then
I remember
23,
I remember that happening, like, because we were like, I mean, there were people trying to find an axle for you, but it was just like they didn't have one or something, man. It was like it was a couple hour deal. Hey, there's Justin right there.
yeah. Hi, son. I had everybody from Rob Mosier to in the industry trying to find an axle,
Mhm.
and there was just no way to get it there the next day. It's just not possible to do that, and it's not an off the shelf piece, unfortunately. And so it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Last year, 23, I did Midwest Drags and was fortunate enough to win class in that. That was a cool deal. Jim Greenleaf and I did that one by ourselves, and it was a that was a good event. That was probably one of the hottest events I've ever been to. The Even though there's not really a set route for the Midwest events, there's really not many ways you could go
Mhm.
along that route. And Jim and I were laughing the other day that the bridge that got knocked down a month or so ago, we actually crossed that thing twice during Midwest.
Wow, I
Oh,
didn't think
really?
about that, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
very
crazy.
hot. It was we struggled with the car. It's the only time I've ever struggled with heat in the car. We actually did the Finnegan and Freiberger roadkill fix and snatched the hood off and strapped it to the roof, and that made a big difference. But
Yeah.
one class there, which was fantastic, and then we did drag week last year and finished fifth in class, I think. So it's a blast. I've done a lot of different drag racing, from a 12-second bracket car to mid six big motor car at two teens, and this is the most fun I've ever had doing this, or at the drag strip, or with your friends, with your car. You know, um, a lot of people ask. The drag racing is less than 5 minutes of the day. You know, if
Yeah.
you make one pass, if you make two passes, you got 10 minutes. By the time you get up there, you do the burnout, you make the pass, you get back. It's the other 23 hours and change with your friends and the road trip, and helping people out or getting help from people, and just sharing the experiences with these people. That's what sold me on this deal, and that's what brought Summit to the table.
Yeah. Yep. So, what cars have you raced in Drag and Drive? Is it just the F body or
Yeah, just the F body so far.
what? Now, did you end up selling that car?
I did. It actually was sold once before, and the guy that bought it, when he came to look at the car, he gave me the deposit and said, "I don't really have a place to store it right now. Can you hang on to it?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess." And he goes, "Well, you're doing drag week, right?" And I go, "Well, that's the plan." And he goes, "Were you going to have the new built done?" And I go, "That's the plan too. I don't know." And he says, "Well, just hang on to the car and race it. And then when you get back, we'll do the swap." And I'm like, "Okay, the worst that could happen, I give him his money back." Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that was the first time. And then I got back and we actually went to the track with the guy, super nice guy. He had never had a fuel injected car of any shape, form, or fashion, especially something like that. And he kind of got cold feet of it. So I graciously let him have his deposit back, and I put it back up for sale. The car did sell in January this year. Yeah, I think. Um, and went to Connecticut. And I don't know that the guy has plans to ever do a dragon drive. I bleeding heart tried to talk him into doing one, but currently it's being bracket raced over in the East Coast. And I never bracket raced the car, but the thing has been within 400ths of itself every time he takes it out. So,
Oh, here we go.
you know,
That's awesome.
What was the setup in that car?
it was a 416-inch LS3, had a set of trick flow, just 225s, reported by our Trick Flow is a sister company of Summit. And there's another business within TrickFlow, TEA, Total Engine Airflow, that does custom porting. If you ever need something like that done, you're going to purchase a set of heads from TrickFlow or Summit or whoever. That is an option that they can do a custom port for you. A lot of people don't know that. We probably do a terrible job of telling that, but they're a phenomenal set of heads. Aluminum 6.2 block, Callie's cranking rods, Wiseco pistons, Hellfire rings. Um, I started the first drag and drive we did. We had an Abruzzi built 400, which was bulletproof, but 28-inch tall tires and 410 gears is a lot. So the second year we moved to a 4L80, full manual 4L80, that another company here in Akron actually, and they just became a we just became a vendor for them. It's Gearstar.
Nice.
They build outrageous overdrive. They own Yank converters. This thing is bulletproof. I have beat the crap out of it. Like drag week last year, up and down the mountain in Tennessee to that Bear Mountain Lookout or whatever it's Brown Mountain Lookout.
Mm-hmm.
That was a true transmission converter test, and the car did perfect. So that I didn't want to sell the car turnkey, but this guy wanted it turnkey. But we came to the agreement that I was keeping the Gearstar piece, and the 400 went back in. So that's how he's got it. So I still have the 4L80 for the new build.
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
Well,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
so do you want to jump in and talk a little bit about the new build that you got going on?
Yeah. So in the class I like the best is the street race small block NA. Um, I've been a nitrous guy. I've never had a turbo car. I actually had a turbo kit purchased, most of it put together for the F body, and just never really did it. I again, the car was a really, really low mile car, and I was at the point where I didn't want to cut it up. It was too nice a car, and
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to sell it. I just didn't want to butcher the car. Even when we did the cage in it, the tubing didn't go through the dash; it dodged the dash, so you can literally cut the cage out, put the carpet back down. You never know what's there. And the car with me in it was 3,840 pounds. So it was on the heavy end of the spectrum with the minimum weight being 3,200 pounds.
Hmm.
So we did okay with it, but I everybody wants to go faster. We want to do something better. So I did buy an S10. Um, it was a started project. I got out of Louisiana. Um, the cage, everything the guy did was really nice. Um, Not going to say the wiring is the best in it because I pretty much ripped it out front to back and just making it my own.
Yeah.
Right.
It was an LS swap as well, but I updated a lot of stuff rear suspension wise. It's still going to fit the rules of the class. New power plant this year. It's a bigger. I won't say how big an LS, but it's under 434 cubic inches. So,
Oh yeah, that was what I was
so
going to
still,
ask.
yeah, still a small block. So the plan is to go hit that same class signature, that style, the
Awesome.
same. Yeah, that's the plan. Um, I do have aspirations of taking more than one person. I did put a bench seat in it. So we'll see how the three of
Yes.
us fit in it.
Dude, listen,
if
you think y'all hated each other in the Trans Am? Put three adult dudes in a regular cab S10. That's gonna be tough.
Well, if the three of us don't fit, then I already have plans in the works to put a baby jump seat in the back for Chris.
Yes.
And I actually looked up with the DOTs of all the states for Drag Week this year. It is legal to have a passenger in the bed of the truck. So I'll put it in a seatbelt back there, and maybe he can ride back there. We'll see.
That'd
But
be
yeah, I
great.
did put a bench seat in it.
We need
That'd
to
be
get him a
great.
camera. If he's going to be in the back, he needs to have a camera to get pictures as he's driving.
Yeah, we need rollers, man. We need roller shots.
Yep.
See the
He's going to
He
be facing the tailgate.
yeah, he
he would
slides.
miss half of it because he would be asleep.
I don't know why it's that carbon monoxide that'd be just swirling around in that bed topper. That's
Right.
fun. Well, that was my question was, are you gonna still, do some NA, or is it gonna stay NA, or is it gonna be, you're running nitrous, you're gonna do some turbo stuff, kind of like long-term goal, you gonna be a power adder guy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I like it? Yes, but there may be another, let's say, track car build that might have a power
Yeah.
adder. I've always been a nitrous guy,
Yeah.
a lot of nitrous, but we'll see. But not really. Um, my schedule is well, as we talked about earlier. It's really crazy, and for me to develop a program and keep up with that, it's just really not in the cards. The NA thing is a simple way to go.
Yeah.
This thing will have dual fuel systems, 93 on the street and 85 for the track. But that's about as exotic as it's going to get, besides a few other pieces we're trying this year.
Yeah.
But I no, for right now, there's no plans to make a power adder application though.
That's awesome, and I'm sure this thing you've probably already said, but it'll be much lighter than the car, right? I mean, you're gonna save a
I'm
few hundred
I'm
pounds for
probably
sure.
gonna have to put yeah, I'm probably gonna have to put weight in it to make class weight, which is
That's
fine. I
great.
can put it where I want it. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. Wow.
Um, did you mention what year S10 is it? Is it a square body or a rounded?
It's a second gen, it's a 98.
Okay.
Sweet.
Step side actually, step side short bed.
Oh,
Mm.
even better for Chris. And he said he's in. I don't know if you saw that comment. Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but before we let you go, I want to talk about some of the other racing you've done. You talk about mid 6 second cars, 200 teens miles an hour. I mean, how do you end up in that? And then we'll let you guys get back to your. I'm sure you've got to go home and do things that she likes because it's her birthday. Like the dishes and laundry and things.
Oh, she's laughing now. Uh, we actually worked from home today. Not by choice. I had eye injury. Well, no, don't need to get into that now. But anyway, we just had a good day together. But
That's awesome.
yeah, no, I've done all types of stuff. I began bracket racing probably in the late '80s. Yeah, right out of high school. So yeah, I'm old. And then kind of got into some class stuff. Did super gas. I had a little tube chassis Vega, ran super gas for a while, drove some dragsters for different people. Did some of the Texas Outlaw Pro Mod racing when I was in Texas. Was part of the Texas Outlaw 10-5 deal for a while.
Nice.
And yeah, I respect bracket racing. I was fairly good at it. It's not really my wheelhouse. I just like to go and go as fast as you can and not have to worry about dumping, anything like that. But
Hmm.
I respect all forms of drag racing because it is something that somebody's put their time, money, and passion into to get out and enjoy. But I, for the most part, like class style racing, something heads up. Super gas does have like the 990 index, but
Yeah.
that's just even when I did that, I never ran a throttle stop. I just played with timing and jetting and got the car to do that. But and then I was a track operator in Texas for a number of years before I moved to Ohio, and that's where I got involved with. We had them out a few times a year, the Texas Outlaw 10-5 group, and actually built a purpose built car for that, and did that, and had the car, even brought it up here to Ohio for a number of years, and ended up selling it, and kind of got out of it for a little while. Didn't have a race car for 7 or 8 years, I guess, maybe more,
Wow.
and then got back into it with the Firebird. So, but yeah,
Nice.
I spent most of my life at a racetrack
What'd you
That's
do
cool.
with
doing
all
something.
that? What'd you do with all that free time without having a race car all those years?
Kids, bro.
Yeah, we have, well, I have a son still lives in Texas. We have a daughter that lives with us that's 21, and well, two daughters, another one that's 16, and that they're almost a full time job.
Oh,
Love you,
dude.
girls.
I'm telling you, we were going over schedule earlier tonight. Not to talk too much about family stuff, but we were going over schedule tonight. Like my oldest daughter has high school cheer starting up, and she will practice from 9:30 to 11 3 days a week. I'm like, why 9:30? Can't you do like 7:30 to 9 or something? Nope, right in the middle of the day. So yeah, you're always running. It's always something.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, obviously, if there's an event promoter that's watching this and they want to talk to you, they can message us. They can message you on Facebook. You know, I do want to ask. Typically, you guys are working a year ahead. There's not a lot of times where you're gonna, hey, can you give me a bunch of money for an event I'm going to put together in 2 months or in 2 weeks or something like that. Like, give these guys plenty of time, because when you're as large as Summit, there's a budget process that goes into doing all that.
We, yeah, we typically have the bulk of our schedule and budget done by September every
Yeah.
year. Anything after that, there might be some cases to where we might put a deal together at SEMA or a PRI, but
Hmm.
not anything that is of the level that most people expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a very good group of partners we work with now, and we're always looking for new things. And little things are easier to do.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to reach out, we do have a general queue that if they reach out to me or reach out to you, I can share that. They can submit information to that. I'm not going to put it out to the world here
Yeah.
publicly because I don't want it full.
Yep.
But for the right person, yes, it does come into our office, and we do look at every one of them, and we get hundreds. Um,
Oh, I
but
can't imagine. I can't imagine.
yeah, but we,
Gotta be pretty
you don't.
wild.
Well, and some of them are, but some of them are very, very good. We found
Yeah.
some good partners through that process too. But to your point, yeah, you can't call me today and say, "Hey, I've got a race in 2 months. Can you?" No, there's purse
Yep.
strings are done by then. I mean, it's shut, and hopefully people understand that. But we do try to do as much as we can with the community and help people as much as we can because at the end of the day, if race cars aren't racing, racers aren't buying parts.
Yep.
Right.
So, and that's
Yep.
why we get involved with as much as we can to give back as much as we can to keep that circle of life going.
Yep. I agree. And you guys have been amazing for us. And it's not just the sponsorship side of stuff that is beneficial for us too. I mean, you guys are a great partner, and your level of knowledge from event hosting to event attendance to making things work and understanding all the stuff. So you're a wealth of knowledge for us, and we really appreciate that you're a part of the program.
Well, you guys have been great to work with. At the end of the day, I'm a good old boy from West Texas. You're a good kind of Southern boy,
Yeah.
and we're going to adopt you into the family, Eric. You're kind of Southern, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do things with a smile and a handshake, and we recognize good partners when we see them, and that's why this works great for both of us.
Yep. Well, we appreciate that for sure. Ed Hohenberg said we love Summit. That's for sure. Well,
Love
any
you too,
parting
buddy.
words or anything that you want to tell everybody?
Um, you know, there's so many drag and drive events popping up this year that everybody should have an opportunity to go out and compete. Don't look for excuses. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am
Yep.
probably going to have the ugliest S10 that shows up at Drag Week this year because it's not going to have a lick of paint on it, but I'm hoping it's going to be fast.
Yep.
Is I hate to keep talking about my buddy Finnegan and Freiberger. Don't get it right, just get it running. Get out there and drive your junk. Have fun. Get it together, enjoy it. That's what it's all about. You can work on it until your dying day and not be happy with it and never enjoyed it a
Yep.
minute's time with it. So get out, drive your stuff, figure out what you need, buy some parts for me. Let's get it right.
That's exactly right. All right, Tommy. Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
And
Thanks.
hey, happy birthday to your wife. Appreciate
Yep.
her giving you up tonight.
She says thank you.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
All right.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Dude, what a fun time. I'm telling you, I really like that guy. He's freaking amazing. And truly, I mean, really, I've messaged him often asking about things and, hey, what do you think about this? Does this make sense? Is this dumb? All that kind of stuff. And he's always a wealth of knowledge on that. So
As always, guys, we want to thank you guys, our race car friends, in here making comments. I know we had a bunch of the Summit people in here. We appreciate them being in here. And of course, we can't do it without all of our sponsors: Summit Racing Equipment, Driven, Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Chains 3D, Howard's Cams, Performabuilt Transmissions, Sweet Patina Racing Junk, and our media partner, PowerTube TV. Guys, we'll see you on the next episode.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.